In this 1 hour webinar with SocialB, you will learn how to make the most of your marketing budget in a digital world, taking you through your ideal target audiences and the right platforms for your business. By the end of the hour, you will be inspired to invest back into the right parts of your marketing. In these uncertain times, it is tempting to pause all of your marketing activities as it's difficult to know what else to do. So you may have convinced yourself that no one will be interested in your product or service right now, but you may well be wrong. Chances are, if you are thinking this, then so are your competitors, and this may give you the edge and an opportunity. Now more than ever, you should be considering how to make the most of digital marketing for your business. With so many options of where to spend your marketing budget, let's arm you with the tools to make more informed decisions and strive for success. So every single business, new and old, has something or someone that they can tap into. Too many businesses totally overlook this, but we're here to show you today why creating a strategy around that something or someone is absolutely key to your success. So we'll be looking at developing a successful and measurable strategy, audience targeting and audience behaviors, and measuring your activity and creating a comprehensive report. So before digital marketing was around, businesses had to make a lot of assumptions about who their customers were and what they were thinking, feeling, saying. And now you have access to who people are, what they want, and when. People are constantly sharing information online via social media, surveys, blogs, videos, and this really gives you the opportunity to engage with the right people on the right channels at the right times when people actually want it. So why don't most businesses do that? I've no idea, but I know that they are missing a trick. So we've seen it time and time again. Businesses simply just don't listen to their target audience enough. And as smaller businesses, you are perfectly placed to do this. Unlike the national and international global brands we often work with, very, very few of them actually listen and they just hang on the coattails of their brand name. So this first thing we need to look at is the why. What's your purpose? And as the famous Simon Sinek quote goes, not your what, not your how, but why you do what you do. What is your why? And what is your audience's why? What problem are you solving for them? And that might change. It could be seasonal, or at the moment it could very much be climate related, but we need to be adaptable. And what we are sharing with you today is just going to be wasting your time if you don't know your audience and you don't know their why. So people might not want your product or service right at this moment, but one thing is highly likely: it will be on their radar and they may well be researching it now. So take holidays, for example. We can't go anywhere at the moment and we've no idea when we will actually be able to do that. But searches from the UK to holidays in Spain are up significantly. Analysts have revealed that travel searches from the UK to Spain with a departure date of around January 2021 are up year over year by 1,626%, which is insane. As a travel brand or a holiday destination, you can't just shut up shop. Marketing needs to go on so people remember the destination. They keep you front of mind. If you stop, everything's going to be such a hard slog to get up and running again. You're basically going to be starting from ground zero. Or B, it's going to be so competitive. PPC and social media ads will likely be very, very expensive when the market finally returns to stability. Having worked through the 2008 recession, our CEO, Lindsay, knows firsthand the impact of cutting your marketing back at a time like this. So keep your marketing ticking over, though it may somewhat be adapted. Keep the social media posts, keep your SEO going, and your emails out there. So let's take a look at understanding our audience a little bit more and how we can market to them. So first things first, we need to create that strategy. So develop online objectives that are SMART. So hopefully you guys all know the SMART anagram. Specific objectives should specify what you want to achieve. They should be measurable. You should be able to measure whether you are meeting the objectives or not. Achievable, are the objectives you set actually achievable and attainable? And we'll come back to that in just a second. Realistic, can you realistically achieve the objectives with the resources you have and timeframes you have at the moment? And timely, when do you want to achieve the set objectives? And the examples of these objectives could be to improve awareness of your brand, to increase footfall in your bricks and mortar store if you have one, reduce costs for call centres or fundraising spends, increase PR coverage. They could be a multitude of things, but I really want you to have that in mind as we move throughout. You need to be setting those clear goals for the year ahead. And don't go reaching for the stars on this. We're in a very, very strange time. So setting goals that will set you up to fail will only be disheartening for you. So set those realistic goals based on forecasting and be smart with them. So once you have your main goals, we need to set some smaller KPIs or objectives to help meet them and motivate you. And your overall objectives will inform what you do in digital marketing in terms of who you want to connect with, what content you're going to share, how you will interact with those people and how often you need to interact with those people, and what you want them to do. So how you want to influence people to act, give them a call to action, tell them if you want them to read something, if you want them to watch something, if you want them to send something into you. It's all going to help inform that content. So I've got some homework for you guys. So, oh, sorry, bear with me. Sorry about that. You should hopefully all be able to see my screen again. The wonders of technical difficulties at this time. So some homework for you. What are your goals for 2020? Start thinking about what you want to achieve for the rest of the year with your digital marketing activities. So think about what you want to achieve with PPC spend. How much do you want to spend and what kind of return would you be looking to see on that? If it's social media, think about the engagement rate that you have at the moment and what you can do to increase it and what you want that figure to look like, or even if it's follower rate and how you'd like that to go forward. So with measurement, set a time to measure your progress against your competitors and your objectives and start to assess your strategy. Learn about how to use things like Google Analytics. I don't know how many of you guys are using Google Analytics at the moment, but it should be your best friend. So make sure you get it set up correctly to track completing key moments on the site. For example, that could be completing a transaction, completing a contact form, or people signing up for your email newsletter. But make sure you measure your progress against both your objectives that you set and your goals, but also think about what your competitors are doing and measuring against those as well. So your audience, we want to be wearing our customers' shoes at all times. So it's key to bear in mind that you may have 2 or 3 sets of audiences. For example, if you sell construction tools, you might have the average Joe consumer, you might have the one-man band business, or you might have the large commercial organization as well, or all 3. So it's important to understand when and how they are looking for what your business provides and the keywords that they are using to search for you. And it's not demographics, it's those other qualifying factors that will often help you identify your audience and their needs. If you don't, you won't attract your audience via social media or through search traffic. So using tools like Google Search Console, Google Keyword Planner to find out what your audience is searching for and how much it will cost to either pay for that traffic through PPC advertising, or if you do it for free through search engine optimization. So something I'm sure all organizations will like to hear is that you can save money. The better you know your audience, the cheaper it is to target them. So the way to do this is to look at things in a slightly different way. So think about who you want to engage with. Who is your target audience? Are they parents? Are they professionals? Could they be CEOs? Think about the demographics of them too. So you do want to think about age, gender, city, country, languages, job titles, their level of income. If you have that information, try and get them as pinned down as you can. So with social media especially, and all sort of forms of digital marketing, two-way communication is absolutely key. The key feature that differentiates social media from traditional media is its facility for that two-way dialogue. It does what it says on the tin. It is a social platform. So think about the ways that you can engage your audience, ask them questions, participate in live Q&As. That's something that SocialB have been doing recently. Ask them to send in photos and videos where relevant. There are so many ways to include your audiences and get them talking rather than just talking at them. So make this a principal core to your social media strategy. And then finding your audience. A really easy way to do this is using search bars on the social media platforms that we have available. So we've used Instagram as shown here, but also with Twitter and Facebook, the search bars can really help you find your audiences through search topics, through hashtags or location searches as well. So the search bar will show you people, businesses, hashtags, locations. You can monitor your key hashtags to discover new accounts, and your locations. If you're a trade show, for example, or if you're attending an event, see who else is there and engage with them through that location tag. So again, a little bit of homework for you. Who are your target audience? I want you to think about creating 3 audiences and think about all the factors such as demographics, but also what they might be searching for and what their problem is that you could solve for them. So think about why your target audience would want to listen to you. What are your competitors saying to them? Creating great content is all about figuring out what our customers need, what problem are we solving for them. And don't be afraid to take some inspiration from commercial or very large company examples as well. It can provoke some really, really good ideas that you can use for yourselves. So there are a lot of channels out there. And in basic terms, these are signposts to your website. And these signposts should all be working really, really hard. And when they have worked, they should point people to your website to find out more or action what you have targeted the people to do. So your website should almost be your best salesperson. One thing that should get your attention is it's not often money that puts people off. There was a well-known example of a sample of 10 people who were asked to buy something specific on a website. And now bear in mind, they were asked to do this, so they weren't spending their own money. All they had to do was navigate to the site, find an item, add it to their shopping cart, and successfully finish the checkout process. And logically, you would guess that at least 8 of the testers could complete that task. When the experiment was done, only 2 of them were actually able to accomplish the goal of buying the item. And if only 2 concluded the checkout process under these circumstances, with the full motivation and no fear of objections, it's no wonder that everyday consumers do not convert on the web. How many people had they lost out who hadn't actually notified them that they couldn't check out all the way? So we highly recommend running the same test for your website and examining the results. Use your friends, family, and simply pick your cheapest products to buy and refund them at a later date. It's so useful to find out where people are getting stuck or finding sticking points on the website when it comes to actually checking out. So in order to know out of all these channels, which one is working and which isn't, you have to measure. But before we even do that, we need to finish off our strategy. So at the core of every digital marketing strategy should be a framework. This is the one we use at SocialB. It is the simple attract, engage, and convert model. So attract, we're using the right audience, using the right channels. So engage your audience in things that are of interest to them and on things you want to raise awareness of or ask them to do. The convert side is converting the audience into an action, signing up for something, attending something, buying something, but convert them cost effectively. And think about the intent behind that. Converting isn't always just about getting sales. It can be things like email signups as well. So with keyword research, again, it's all about the intent. Being at the top of Google and not giving the right answer is a waste of time for both you guys to target that keyword, but for your audience as well to come and search. So for example, if I was searching for vegetarian recipes using a slow cooker, if you're at the top of the Google with this term and you provide a recipe that isn't with a slow cooker or isn't even vegetarian, then you've really wasted my time and it's pretty annoying. And I got this recently when searching and was annoyed, especially as I gave quite a lot of detail in my questions. So it needed to be vegetarian, slow cooker. I wasn't asking for rocket science here, just a vegetarian recipe and a slow cooker. So research those keywords and really think about the human intent behind them. So where to research these keywords, you want to be looking at a few tools. So Google Keyword Planner is the first one. Your Google Search Console, all of these are free. Your competitors, think about what your competitors are targeting by way of keywords as well. There's a great tool called Google Trends, which again is free, where you can just type a keyword in and it will show you the search trends over time. So a really good one to have a play with is set it to the last 6 months and type in virtual meetings, and you will see from a pretty static graph, it suddenly shoot up in March because everyone is searching for ways to conduct their virtual meetings. So it gives you a view of what that trend looks like over time. And there's another tool called Answer the Public as well, which will give you lots of different keyword ideas based on one keyword in terms of how people are searching. So you can see in the very middle of this graph here, we've got accountant qualification. That could branch out to the whats, the wills, the cans, the whos, the whys, and from there branch into lots and lots of different questions based on accountant qualification. So what is the top accounting qualification? What is the best accounting qualification in the world? All of those different things can come out of one little keyword that you can use to target your audiences more in depth. So now listen, ask, and create. Now you might think that this isn't adding value to your organization right now, but it really, really is. We did this ourselves. We did this experiment. For example, we know that a lot of people aren't listening to podcasts as much as they used to because they're used to listening to them when they're commuting most of the time. But don't stop with content just because people might not be using it right now. Give people the information now to eventually come back to. Again, going back to that travel example, with people looking for holidays in Spain, people are still going to be researching that stuff now, even if they're not going to book until January 2021. So give them the inspiration and the information that they need to make that decision when everything comes back to a more normal state. So as we just but Google Search Console will tell you if people are interested in doing or if they're just interested in looking. So the graph below here shows, this is our website, our SocialB website, and you can see we were still getting impressions, but people were not clicking. So it then came back. So dig deeper and look into the terms that people are looking at and into your Google Analytics for your top content. And from this graph and doing a little bit more digging, where people were searching for keywords but not clicking, they weren't actually finding the content that they needed. So that's why they weren't clicking. So we found 2 blogs on our website that people hadn't been looking at much before, and we used them again to share on social media, through our email marketing. We just pushed it out there to get that interest in clicks back. And the more people started clicking and interacting with that, the more the SEO traffic started to come back a little bit, and the clicks started to increase along with the impressions. So it's just useful to see that content that you might have forgotten about even exists on your website can really help to maximize your success here. So maximize that content. One blog post, for example, or a helpful page on your website, it could be an FAQs page. This could be used for different pieces of content on social media, in your SEO, in your email marketing. It can be used for video content, infographics. Don't be afraid to use what you already have in different formats and push it out to the world. So with content production, think about each piece of content. Again, it goes back to the why. Why are we doing this? What are we trying to achieve? And what's the end goal? What's the problem that we're solving for that customer, or the piece of information that we're giving that customer to be helpful when we're putting this piece of content out? So plan well in advance to save any sort of panic posting. And remember, it's all about quality over quantity. We get asked time and time again, how often should I be posting on social media? How often should I be posting on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram? It really is all about the quality over the quantity with this. You want to make sure that the posts aren't just being posted to get your clicks up, or just because you feel like you should be posting every day. For Facebook, if we were to give you a bit of a rule of thumb, I'd say you really only want to post on Facebook maybe 3 to 4 times a week. Twitter, if you can, do it daily, maybe 4 to 5 times a week if you're stretched for content. Instagram, again, 4 or 5 times a week. It does depend on the platform, and again, like I said, the content that you guys have available to you as well. And this is just a sample of a content strategy. It looks pretty intimidating, but you should also have a sheet for your strategy overall, not just your social media content, your SEO, PPC, etc. as well. So think about content that can be easily utilized too. National days are perfect for this, and they're participative for your audience as well and other businesses. So just make sure the ones you pick are relevant. If you're a bakery, then I don't know, National Pie Week might be for you. You can use that to jump on the bandwagon, but Bring Your Pet to Work Day might not be if you're working in a bakery. People probably don't want to see pets running around the place. If you're working in an office, that might be more relevant to you. National Pie Week might not be so relevant. So just have a look at the national days that you can sort of have a play with. They're really easy for content, and sometimes actually work out to be a really fun experiment and nice and engaging for your audiences. Basically, with content, any content that focuses on the behind the scenes of an office environment really rings out for your audience. They like to see the people rather than just a faceless company. So next up, we're going to touch on measuring your performance. Seeing who visits your website using Google Analytics, seeing who sees and doesn't see your website and doesn't visit. And always remember, if you're also doing any PPC advertising as well, make sure that your Google Ads, if you're using Google Ads, is linked to your Google Analytics, because the last thing you want is some disjointed data. So when we are looking at measurement, we want to go back to our attract, engage, and convert model. So think about, from the attract side, who you are attracting, channels and audiences. Engage, what are they doing? And converting, who are you converting? And more importantly, who are you not converting? So this is the basic all traffic report under acquisition in Google Analytics. So look at where you are attracting people from. Is it through SEO and keyword searches on Google, Bing, or Yahoo? Or is it largely through your email or social media traffic? And is it new people or people who have visited before? So you can see in that column breakdown there, you've got users, then you've got new users, then you've got sessions. So sessions is the amount of times people have visited your website. The users is the amount of single users who have had that visit. So users can have multiple visits to a website, which is why your sessions should always be higher than your users. And then you've got the new users as well, which will tell you how many new users are coming to your website on a monthly or daily visitation. So you can see that when you set in the right-hand corner up there, day, week, or month. I'd suggest having a look at this in more of a week or a month view. Days tend to be a little bit too jagged. You can't really pick out the data as much. So try sort of more of a weekly and monthly view. So I'll just break down the channel groupings as well, because it's not always clear for some people. So organic search means when you're Googling or you're using Bing or Yahoo, whichever search engine you're using, that's going to be your organic search traffic. So where they've come to your website from that result. Paid search is obviously when you're doing PPC or social ads. Direct is where they're literally typing your address straight into the address bar and coming directly to you. Referral, this is the trickier one to explain, but referral traffic, just like a word of mouth really, is where your website is linked from another source. So it could be that you were featured in BBC News, for example, and they've linked back to your website within that article. That would be your source of referral traffic. Email is obviously your email provider. So if you're using MailChimp or Campaign Monitor, whichever you're using. And then social, finally, is your social media traffic. So if you click into each one of these, so let's, for example, take social, it will then break down Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and show you each individual metric of where traffic was driven from each individual social media platform. And the same for organic search. You can see the breakdown between Google, Bing, Yahoo, Baidu, all the millions of search engines that are out there. So this second column focuses much more on user behavior. So these, the behavior column and then the 3 columns below it, it's all about what they are doing when they get to your website. So the bounce rate will tell you how many people are landing on the website and not doing anything. So basically they are bouncing straight off. So they're landing there, having a look, then leaving again without clicking on any new links or navigating around the site at all. So you want your bounce rate. Again, this is a question we get asked a lot at SocialB. What should my bounce rate be? I'd say anything under 55% is great. If you're sort of looking more towards the 60, 65, that sort of shows you that potentially there's not enough call to actions on your homepage, or there's not enough motivation for people to move around. So you'd want to start just having a look at how your landing pages or your homepage is constructed just to make the most of that user visitation. Then the second one is pages per session. So how many pages in one session on your website are they actually visiting? Are they looking around enough? Obviously, if you only had a 3-page website, then 3 pages per session is pretty great. You're getting all of your pages there hit. If you have hundreds of pages on your website and you're only getting about 3 visits per session, then again, you want to start to think about how you can encourage your users. And it might be as simple as, if you're driving people towards a blog, you might just put some call to actions to other blogs or to other areas on the website where they will find more relevant information. And then lastly, you've got your average session duration as well. So how long are people on average, based on all your visits, spending on your website? It's good to just break these down and have a look at them by channel as well. Social, we always find, will be naturally a little bit lower than all of the others, if not the lowest, because you're taking people away from what they were doing before. So if they come from Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, they're sort of already in that social media mindset. So they're probably not going to spend too much time on your website before they then just get back to scrolling through their social media feeds. And then in the last column, we've got conversions. So we've got, in this one, it's set at e-commerce conversion rate, transactions, and then overall revenue. Typically, if you're selling online, e-commerce conversions is something you will want to get set up straight away, so you can see what's making money, how often people are checking out, and what that conversion rate is in terms of the amount of visitors to your website as well. But it doesn't have to be e-commerce. If you're more of a B2B company and you're generating more leads, for example, maybe you would look at the conversion being contact form signups. So people filling out contact forms to get in touch with you. If it was chamber, potentially you guys are looking at bookings for events. That could be a goal. Or even visiting key pages as well. So if you're making sure that you want someone to visit a certain blog, you could set that up as a goal as well. So make sure you're measuring what you need to measure for success. If you'd like me to share with you a great article on what the average conversion rates are, then drop me an email and I can share that with you also as well. And my email will be at the end of this presentation. So the figures you need to know, these figures are not just useful for online marketing, they're pretty much key to any business advertising anywhere. And the figures that you need to know are your profit margin, how much you can afford to pay for an inquiry, so a cost per lead, and a cost per conversion. And from there, you can work out how and what online marketing is providing a return on investment. So for example, if you're selling light bulbs at £10, you buy them at £8, so your profit is £2, but this is before any marketing. So then you can't pay £2 or £3 per sale because you'll pretty soon be out of business, unless of course people are bulk buying. But you basically want to make sure you have all 3 of those so you can accurately report, which is what we will come on to next, that high level reporting that you can look at and immediately see if you've made a return or not. So again, this might look like a bit of an intimidating table here, but this is a high-level report that we use to show our clients the immediate return on their marketing. And this takes into account things like PPC spends, any external fees like our agency fee, and their net return minus their profit margins. And this is a great report to give to the higher ups, such as marketing directors or even board members, so that they can basically quickly see if things are working and if they are profitable. Nice and easy, you've just got your percentage up or down, so they can quickly see what that looks like. So to finish off, I wanted to share a few of those tools that will not only help make your life easier, but they will also enhance your content. So there are thousands of great tools available. What I would say is just invest in the tools that make the marketing process simple and is efficient for you as well. Takes the guesswork out of those key areas. What I don't want you to do is waste any time and money on those luxury tools that don't get used regularly. There's a lot of tools out there that will do the free trials and free versions, and most businesses really only need those. Agencies are different. They usually require much more of a bigger budget. Franchises could also be an example of this as well. But for you guys, hopefully, the free trials for Hootsuite, Buffer, Canva, they should all be enough for you. And you can find some really great image libraries through Pexels, Pixabay, and at the moment, due to the ongoing situation, Shutterstock are actually currently doing some free images that you can use to post more resources about your situation within COVID-19 responses as well. So they're doing a lot of work to help people get the right kind of content that's not going to be insensitive, but it's also going to be relevant to your audiences as well. So like I said, we'll be taking some Q&As down in the chat box if you haven't popped them in already. But we do have a special offer on at the moment. We are offering a 30-minute digital marketing consultancy session for free. We only have 3 spaces on this. So this can be used to fix a problem on your site, make a social media plan, we can audit your website together, reassess your strategy, or if it's just to pick our brain. Like I said, there are only 3 spaces available, so it's a bit of a first come, first serve on that. And if you do want to take us up on that offer, just quote Norfolk Chamber in your email, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can on that. So just email me at eleanor@socialb.co.uk. You can also head to our website at the moment to sign up for our amazing newsletter full of great and actionable insights, which comes out every week. And you can check out our other webinars as well, available to download on our website. So we've got things like Rethinking Your Marketing Strategy as the one we did today. We've also got 8 steps to a great website, boosting your brand with user-generated content, taking your training virtual if you're offering more virtual packages. Lots of resources available here. And if you'd like to buy a copy of the full digital marketing template that we use at our agency, you can also buy this today on our site for a pretty good, fantastic saving at the moment as well. So if you just follow the links to those, they are all available there. But as always, we really, really value your feedback. It helps us continue to put on these webinars with Norfolk Chamber to really make the most of helping you guys through this time at the moment. So I'll just leave that. If you scan the QR code, that'll take you to our form to fill out the feedback form. And I think Norfolk Chamber also have a feedback form for you as well. So I'll just take a look at some of the questions we've got. So, so you're all mentioning very helpful. Great. Any other questions, just pop them in the chat. I'll be here for another sort of 10 minutes or so. So if you did want to pop anything in, then feel free to do so now. But thank you guys all for joining me this morning. If there's any other information you want, do not hesitate to email me or Philly at the Norfolk Chamber, and we'd be glad to help. Thanks, Paula. Thanks, Gordon. And thank you, Jenny, Paula. So Simone, where should I look for advice around LinkedIn posting? We do have some webinars on LinkedIn posting. What I would say is if you are a B2B business, LinkedIn is absolutely the place for you to be. it's one of the areas where you will, hopefully, depending on what your business is, find your target audiences. I would almost stray away a little bit from Facebook and Twitter if you are a direct B2B business. We tend to find that marketing directors or whoever the decision makers are that you want to be speaking to, they're going to be on Facebook potentially or on those other platforms, but they're going to be using it very socially. So they're not going to be in that business mind. And through doing this for a lot of clients, we've also found that they don't really like to be marketed to when they're trying to have their sort of private social time. So sticking to something like LinkedIn can really, really help identify those decision makers and strike up a conversation with them as well. Jonathan, if you want to have a look at the free 30-minute session, email me over at eleanor@socialb.co.uk, just quote Norfolk Chamber, and I'll see if I can get you booked in, but be quick. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Simone. Glad to see you guys all enjoyed it. Any other questions? Pop them in the chat. Paula asks, are you finding that individuals are using LinkedIn less in the current environment? From what we've seen, that's a really, really interesting question, actually. What we've seen, I think at the start, there was a lot of uncertainty when we sort of got first put into lockdown in that sort of week commencing, I think it was the 23rd of March. There was less posting, or there was a lot of posting just on the situation in general. And then we sort of started to see people adapt to their situation, talk about the rise of virtual meetings and how that's had an impact and kind of what they're doing to help keep team well-being alive, to help keep their own well-being alive. So I think a lot of the conversations have just sort of shifted within March and the start of April to more of that kind of engaging conversation. Whereas now, I think it's starting to come back a little bit, and this is just what we've seen, but people seem to be having a lot more conversation with us around actual business progression and what they should be doing going forward into 2020 when things start lifting, and also into 2021. What do they need to do to plan stuff coming back next year? So I think people are almost, they're not writing 2020 off, but they are thinking about especially what they can do 2021 or Q4 for this year to really bounce things back. So the conversations are absolutely coming back on LinkedIn, and I think now people have kind of settled a little bit to our new normal way of working, as they say. The LinkedIn activity seems to be coming back. Gordon, you put, I am B2B and have not sold on Facebook, but I have had sales through LinkedIn. Fantastic. But still need to have some content on Facebook and Instagram. Absolutely agree. But it's going to be less of that sort of hard sell, I think. The LinkedIn stuff, like I said, is where you can really find those decision makers, and they're going to be a bit more primed in a business environment to potentially be open to talking to you, having those conversations, and as I say, making the decisions to hopefully come on board with you. Whereas Facebook, Instagram can be used for more of that behind the scenes look to show you guys the expertise, the trust that you're putting out there to the world as well. Any other questions for today? Thank you, Lauren. And thank you, Andrew. I think if that's everything for today, if you do have any other questions you think, oh God, I should have asked that when you're having lunch or dinner later on, then do feel free to absolutely email me. Like I said, it's eleanor@SocialB. I think I do have it up on the screen here, actually. Bear with me. There you go. So my email's just there. If you did want to email me any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them throughout the rest of this week. But I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week and a lovely bank holiday weekend as well, as we have a 3-day weekend, which hopefully you're all looking forward to.
Thank you so much, Eleanor, and thank you for those who attended today. We'll be sending an email out, as Eleanor mentioned, with a survey, and we also hope to send the recording out so that you can rewatch as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.